Award, Unsa Maza Zoka awarded by G Marathi, Avanti Mitra Award from Talwalkar Trust in February 2014, Green Enterprises Award from Entrepreneurs International in July 2019. She has a lot of publication also. So हमारे साथ बहुत ही experienced और knowledgeable एक लेडी मैं कहूंगा कि कहाँ क्या कर सकती है और हम उनसे मार्गदर्शन लेने के लिए बहुत उत्सुक है। तो आई रिक्वेस्ट कि मैडम कि आज आप हमको सिखाइए कि हाउ विल डू द इकोलॉजिकल कंजर्वेशन और आपका गाइडेंस अभी सब पार्टिसिपेंट्स को मिले। सो ओवर टू कित मैडम।
Thank you so much, Sachin. So it's not like that I have a lot of experience, just that I enjoy doing these things. I'm just going to share whatever we keep on doing. And there's nothing different, nothing high-tech in what we do. It's just the same, I think, just a mix of traditional things which have been there in Indian societies and try to mix it with ecology and try and do certain work of conservation through our firm, that is Oikos for Ecological Services. So maybe for few people who may not understand, Oikos is a Greek word meaning home or earth. So ये ecology जो शब्द है ये Oikos से evolve हुआ है. So it's all about studying our home basically. So yeah, so I'll just try to share our experience, whatever we've been doing in ecological restoration. So thanks Sayaji for praising. So just trying to do the work that we've been enjoying. Yeah, and thanks to Dhananjay also for connecting me to INA. It's a pleasure to be here on this platform. And I'm sure all of you definitely have good potential to take this work ahead. When it comes to plants, as Sayaji was saying, that it's high time that we start cultivating native plants and try to create demand for it. That's what we've been doing for all these 15 years. So 15 years back when there was hardly any demand for native plants, now definitely that much awareness is there that people come to us asking for native plants for sure. And now whatever new townships are coming up, and when many architects are designing it, they're designing it with good thought, and that time they need like thousands and lakhs of native plants, which whatever the few nurseries are there, they're not able to produce actually. So that's why it's high time that mainstream nursery profession gets into these natives and then create demand, and maybe just keep on planting this. So yeah, but anyway, so we're talking a lot about plantations again, but today's topic as given to me and as the name of the session is all about ecological restoration. So though for sure plantation is extremely important for us for conservation, but plantation is just one little part of it. That's what we say. The most important thing that we need to do is ecological restoration, or if at all you combine ecological restoration with plantation, then only it is going to be very much beneficial for nature. So just to set the context for this talk, I would just like to say that we need to think over it very seriously, very cautiously, that human beings have been modifying the landscape since ages. Like since hunting gathering stage, humans have been changing the forest, and human became agriculturists, then we became like cattle growers, shepherds. So every time our footprint was increasing and we were changing the landscape, as in even in earlier talk, Mr. Vijay Shinde and Sachin were saying that because we are degrading ecosystem, it is high time that we conserve the ecosystem. Abhi to काफी time हमने गवा दिया है, but now it's time that we do certain things. And the main thing that we've been doing is only plantation, but it seems that plantation is not working. We need some need to address some bigger issues also. And what are those? So it's not only about working on land, let me tell you. So along with the working on land, the same time we also need to shape our economic policies in a certain way so that they are in tune with nature. And even so, I really appreciate, as Sayaji was saying, that obviously each of us would concentrate only on economy because we wish to earn money at some point of time. But can we just integrate this two perspective, that for sure we need to earn money, but at the same time, let's also look at nature. So it should, the earning money should not happen at the cost of natural ecosystem. That's what we say. So can we do that? And for sure, it is possible to go beyond plantations and do ecological restoration. And how that is done, for that, I'm just going to share screen and show you few of our case studies that we've been working. since past 15 years. So how do we actually restore or conserve? So there are various ways that can be followed depending on the availability of land. How much land is there in your hand? How much resources that you have? Means for sure, money wise and also human resources. How much time you have? How much patience you have? Because restoration that way is a little slow process, but it is extremely beneficial for the biodiversity, and we've experienced that. So best practice we suggest is not only about restoration, because I'm sure for many of you this word could be little new. So you can always combine it with plantation, but plantation should not stand alone. That's what we say. And so this restoration strategy would vary. As we say, in natural areas you would have different strategy. In rural areas you can combine it with the livelihood of local people. That's the best thing to do actually. And in urban areas you need to have completely different strategy. So let's have a look at few case studies that we've been working in Western Ghats and India by Pune. So this is how our natural areas look like. So this is one of the photograph from Panchet catchment near Pune. It is in Western Ghats. And as you can make out in the center, there are three patches of one sacred grove, and the rest everything is degraded. But if you see, even in the degraded state, there are certain patches which are completely barren and certain patches which have some kind of vegetation, but it is not really very good. So whatever special biodiversity is there within Western Ghats, very special plants, if you visit such kind of devarais and sacred groves, these plants won't grow in the barren area. So what we are saying, when it comes to natural areas, your restoration should aim at conserving those species which are now remaining only in little bits and bits, very somewhere they are just surviving. So why not to do conservation for these species? And how to achieve that? Again, so this is the other view of the same sacred grove, as you can see. So what we're saying, that here it is all habitat specialist species in this technical term, and rest of everywhere there are quite general species are there. So what we are saying is we definitely need to conserve viable habitats. Means because we are able to restore, we can't keep on destroying. So definitely we also need to conserve whatever are good areas. We definitely need to keep on protecting them, and rest of the degraded areas can be restored. So this is one of the case study from the Western Ghats. So this is a there in Patan Taluka in one Kusavde, and this land is owned by actor Atul Kulkarni, our good friend, and another actor friend Dhiresh Joshi, and their families. They own this land. And 15 years back, when they bought this land, they came to us, and then we discussed that what to do on that particular land. So instead of maybe developing it very conventionally, like having gardens or maybe making horticulture, we suggested them why not to look at this area. So if you look at the regional setting of the project area, it's there within Western Ghats, which is one of the biodiversity hotspot. Means what? Much of the biodiversity in India is concentrated in these Western Ghats. So many species are endemic, like they are found only in Western Ghats. So obviously you can't restore all the species just by doing plantation or just by doing conventional methods. But for that, you need to do ecological restoration. It's a part of or in the buffer of Koina Wildlife Sanctuary, 1,000 meters above sea level, and it literally pours over there. Means rainfall, if you see, you can't stand in that rainfall. It's 5,000 millimeters average annual. And as you see in the photograph, is a hilly topography. So in the same catchment, there is the sacred grove, which is called as Bun. And that's why we decided on this particular project land, we need to restore that. So obviously it's going to take much more time. We're not sure how many years it would take, maybe for sure 20 years, 30 years, or even 100 years. But this is how the land was back in 2005. And as you see, cattle grazing was obviously rampant that time. Then only grasses were there, and they even would go after monsoon. So it would get turned into brown landscape. So this was a quite big challenge. So, and this is how it is. So poor fertility of soil, there was intense grazing, high speed winds were there. So what we did are all very simple techniques. Means nothing is very difficult. Any villager also can tell कि अगर आपको जंगल बढ़ाना है तो कुछ नहीं करो, बस उसको फेंस कर दो, रख दो, अपने आप जंगल हो ही जाएगा. So that's definitely very important thing in ecological restoration, that protection needs to be offered along with the control on wood cutting, grazing and grass cutting. This is extremely important. And then Then you can do little bit of physical measures for soil and water conservation, then stream restoration, and very little focus was there on plantation of native plants. So why that was there, let me show you. So the protection, again we did the protection by using only thorn fence. Again we had decided to keep the footprint of this entire activity to the minimum. So instead of getting in cement and barbed wire from outside, we prefer to use all the local thorns. This is a one plant which grows very wild in this area, Scutia, and is deadly thorny. So we just had it, and the result, as you see in this photograph, is biomass improvement. And this biomass, we say, is extremely important in ecological restoration process because it's wealth for the topsoil. The moment maximum biomass, maximum organic matter goes into the topsoil, it improves, it texturizes, and that's the key in ecological restoration. Let me tell you, even if you do plantation, this is equally important. Instead of doing plantation on completely barren land, if you go for this biomass improvement first and then do plantation, it really makes sense. So this biomass is wealth for this restoration. Then we did live hedges. So along with this thorn fence, we planted certain plants which are not eaten by cattle. So one of them is nirgudi, or certain ficus species are planted, and it's also served like an excellent habitat for smaller fauna because initially land was quite barren. Then being in Western Ghats, and because people set the land on fire every year for their own reasons, we had to do this fire line. Yeah, so we just deliberately get burned one belt all along the boundary of the land, say 10 feet, and this skill is there with the local people. They know it how to do it. So we do it. It's very important because we wish to land to be protected from fire. Then very simple measures for soil and moisture conservation. So now even there is this notion that for whatever water percolation, the main thing that you have to do is contour trenching. So but we say it's not necessary all the time, because Western Ghats, areas like Western Ghats, they already have a lot of vegetation. Even if you look at this particular slope in this photograph, every inch of the slope has grasses, as you see. And once these grasses grow in size, their root structure also grows. And each root structure, it's a big root wad below the ground level, almost 1 meter deep. So each grass clump is acting just like trench. It is just acting just like a sponge. It is letting the water percolate. So in high rainfall areas, we suggest that maybe instead of doing contour trenches, which completely changes the topography, such kind of little measures like the stone lines are more than enough. And as you see in the second photograph, soil gets arrested behind this stone line. And now this was done in 2005. You can't even recognize this slope now. It's completely different because of these measures. Then such kind of treatment is done site specific. As you see, this was a erosional gully. We just simply had this loose boulder bund, and again you can't even recognize it. So tons of soil got arrested in this project land, as you see here. Otherwise this would have landed in Koina backwaters, yeah, reducing the capacity of that dam. So this is extremely important. Then because initially land was too barren, we did this percolation pond. बहुत ही छोटे छोटे है ये, and this is not meant for storage. This is just meant for percolation of water. And now this is completely different. Now you can't even recognize that this such kind of pond was there. Then we did stream restoration just to reduce the velocity of water, because in Western Ghats, many of you must have experienced this, that the velocity of water is so much that it erodes the banks. So it's good to arrest the velocity and let the water percolate in the sites, that is riparian zone, which we call it as. Then some such kind of site-specific techniques were also done. So this was one very big pit. It's a headward erosional patch which was there. Then we did one good treatment to this patch, and now even the grasses are, some kind of cover of biomass is maintained even till the next summer. So that's a positive change. And when we went there, so people were telling us since last whatever 50 years they had never seen a blade of grass in that particular patch. It was a small little area which was there, but just because of restoration techniques. And as also you can notice my height. So earlier I used to get fitted completely in that pit. but now quite a bit of material is filled in that particular, and it is getting restored. So restoration is also about restoring the physical features on the land. It's not only about the biological diversity, but also about the physical diversity. And then, of course, we concentrated on natives plantation, and in that also we wanted to go more scientific. Like if so, that's why we studied the forest composition in the watershed. So in that catchment, what is dominant in the forest is mango, jamun, then this terminalia, then actually so like pisa and ain, hilda beda, all these species are dominant. So we decided to include all those in plantations. Then we also initially we used to do the caging by using these carvi shrubs to the saplings so that they get protected. And then we had bamboos all along the hedge. So this was the list. So many species, actually there's a good long list to this, and few species are which are rare, which are endemic, which are endangered, were planted in few numbers, and commons obviously are planted in good numbers. We also did seed dispersal. But again, let me tell you, many people keep on doing seed dispersal very enthusiastically and just disperse the seeds on completely barren area. But obviously, even if it gets germinated, it it would not be able to make it to the sapling or even to keep aside the mature tree, just because that land doesn't have capacity to survive that particular sapling. So we suggest that if at all you are going to throw the seed, it has to be in some kind of cluster where it has got some kind of anchor. So that's the important thing. So precisely we did the same thing and we got good result on even here. So what was the result? Was improve habitats. That's what is important. And again, if you compare this to plantation, such kind of thing hardly are done in plantation if you don't do restoration. So as you see, micro habitats were improved. So there are shrub clusters, there are ponds, there are grass clumps, and this is a habitat for each and every life form. Like, so there are n number of bacteria which are increased, fungi species are increased, then insects are increased, butterflies are increased, birds are there. So all life forms are surviving on that particular land. Then another important thing which happened because of ecological restoration is decrease in the temperature of the soil. So earlier this soil would get heated up to 60 degrees centigrade. And you can imagine in 60 degrees centigrade, hardly any life form would be able to survive or make it complete its life cycle. So it's important that you have some kind of insulating cover on the soil. And just by having only grasses, we could reduce the temperature by almost 12 degrees, it's reduced to 44 degrees. Yeah. Then the moment temperature change, you see different kinds of species. So earlier, the kind of earthworms that would be there in the soil, they were quite little smaller. And now the earthworm size is also increased, and also the castings of the earthworm are increased in size. We also measure that. So earlier it used to be from 1 square meter, it used to be just few grams, and now the castings are like in a few kilograms. So that's the major change. So obviously that much aeration is happening. Then indicators of new habitats. So we love all these species. So this is a signature spider, as you see in the photograph. Each spider has got its unique signature. Then again, another indicator, butterflies in certain patch. Because insects were increasing, reptiles are also increasing. This is a garden lizard. So all these are very important. Again, if you are remembering our school days wherein we had learned nature and ecology, we need to form a base of the pyramid, right? So if there are many producers and consumers, micro consumers, then only apex species would be able to survive. So that's why we need many micro consumers. Then indicator of low temperature of soil. Earlier we had never spotted a single snake, but now because the soil temperature is appropriate for them, we do see snakes. Then because of increased moisture, now we also started seeing leeches. So leeches, this is a habitat for leeches actually in Western Ghats. There are a few pockets wherein leeches are seen, but again, because of degradation and low temperature, we don't see leeches anymore. So that's how it is increasing, and we are happy. Another thing that I think many of you would appreciate is watering need is reduced. Watering need for saplings is reduced. Earlier, we would water the saplings immediately after monsoon, that is in October, but now we don't water the saplings till April or May. Yeah, so because of restoration, soil moisture has increased and that much effort has decreased. So that's a wonderful thing about ecological restoration. Then there are many rare species. As you see, this is Atul, and So the rare species is this Russell's kukri. This is a non-venomous snake which was found there, and we were quite happy. So somehow it has entered the house, and that's why we had to catch it and maybe let it go outside. Then another rare species is Sicilian. This is a limbless amphibians. मतलब ये फ्रॉक की जाति का है, ये सिसिलियन जो एनिमल है, और काफी रेयर है. इस पे ज्यादा कुछ काम भी नहीं हुआ है. इसको मराठी में देव गांडूळ बोलते हैं. So because we could spot its younger one, we were quite happy. And this is how then the slowly landscape completely changed, and this is what ecological restoration is all about. So initially it used to be only seasonal grasses, as you see in this first photograph, only just like lawn, looks very beautiful, but it's not appropriate, completely degraded stage. And the moment we give protection, offer protection, biomass started increasing along with the shrub clusters. But as you might know that in Western Ghats, it's very heavy rains and high speed winds during monsoon. And this is followed by drought, completely dry season. So obviously, it's very difficult for biodiversity to survive in this two extreme condition. That's why restoration is very slow. And that's why we say that whatever earlier forests are there, we must protect it, because once we lose them, it's very slow process to get them back. You're hearing me, right? You hear me?
Yes, Ketki, you are audible.
You are audible, please go ahead.
Okay, so this grass then formed a insulating layer. So this was extremely important. Otherwise, in Sahyadri, most of the areas completely go barren and the soil gets heated. But in summer, some kind of insulating layer is important. So many of the people here are Marathi. They would know that most of the Sahyadri has kusari grass. Marathi name for the earlier grass was kusari. But now the kusari has taken exit, and the new grass is there, which is called tambard, and it is a perennial grass. It is able to stand on the land till next monsoon, and this is extremely important. And then after this perennial grass, the restoration has gone further, and now what we see are shrub clusters. So nothing is planted in this photograph, whatever you see. This is extremely natural. Most of the things are natural here. Nothing is planted. So saplings, even if are there, one or two, as you see this banana or nearby, very little saplings are there. But otherwise, this is all natural. So this is the journey, as I'm going to show you in this one slide. So this is the first year with indicator species like bulbul and bush chat. You might be knowing that around us, bulbul is a very common bird. So it was also there. But the moment we protected it, perennial grasses started coming in and shrubbery increased. So in this perennial grasses in shrubbery, because the habitats are now improved, what we started seeing is nesting of birds like pipits and shrikes. Yeah. So earlier, no bird would find this land safe for nesting. So now it's a good indication that these birds are now just staying there for feeding as well as nesting. This is year 10, wherein the shrubbery is just increasing in size. You can see house is hardly seen. And this is maybe last year's photograph, though this was from little post monsoon, that's why it's little green. But this is how the journey of this entire plot is. And here somewhere definitely we had planted few things, but result yet to be seen. Whatever plantation was there, and there's this one bore well is there on which there is a hand pump, and the man who just looks after this, he definitely waters the saplings, but it's quite hard to make those saplings grow. And in this last stage, what we see are birds like jungle fowl and spur fowl are now can be seen on the land. So this is a complete change from complete barren land to different species, which are normally seen in forests. So this is how the ecological restoration means this is how we've been experiencing. It's wonderful. We have studied it in textbook, and we could see actually this journey on this particular land. So there are certain social benefits also, because if you see, you definitely employ local people, you take their help in the restoration, good quality fodder grass can be available from such patches. So just to maybe conclude this particular project, that definitely this land is set on a right track to go towards forest development. It would take many years for sure. So now, even if we keep on watering the sapling, it takes little year to develop. And significance of this project, so there are people from all over India I suppose on this particular group. So it can be replicated at landscape level. So we have almost 30% wetlands in India, and these are very low external inputs. It's not like very costly. Of course, there is a cost, whatever minimal cost is there, but it's uncomparable to the plantation and the drip irrigation and the gardens that we make. Instead of that, if we do such kind of ecological restoration, we would be able to restore many lands, and this is how we're trying to take it ahead. On one of the project in Panchayat Catchment, we're trying to shape this private sanctuary with the help of urban people. So those who are interested, you can write to us. We can involve you in this particular project. Dhananjay here, Dhananjay Shedbale, everyone is talking. He's a member of our sanctuary, and thanks to people like him who've been supporting us quite a bit, and good friend with us. So we have camera traps over there, and the biodiversity is getting attracted. Then coming to rural area, I'll just quickly, just within 5 minutes, Sachin, I'll complete this.
Okay, take your own time.
Yeah, so this was the story of natural areas. In natural areas, we are saying that we must concentrate on conservation of species, but when it comes to rural area where people are using the land, they need land for agriculture. As you see in this particular image, that much of the rural or central Maharashtra, or for that matter, many parts of India, you can see agriculture is the main land use, and original forest is restricted only to certain patches. So wherein such kind of restoration could be difficult. So what to do in such cases? So all these patches are there, so as I marked here. So we were working in this particular village named Ratchandana in Vidarbha, and so we were just trying to convey the same thing that I'm talking here with villagers, that why ecological restoration is essential for us as well as our future generation, because we always say that if we don't conserve, if we don't restore, if we don't plant right now, our kids may not be able to see any forest in the future. Down the line, 50, 100 years, there may not be any good forest left. So obviously they also agreed to it, and with them in Grama Sabhas, we evolved this particular plan, which was meant basically for both forest restoration and grassland restoration. So here in rural areas, we tried to connect ecological restoration to their livelihood. And I think that's the only way it's going to work, that you connect it to their livelihood. So we said, why not to restore grassland so that we have superior grass species, which are excellent fodder, because right now all the cattle are feeding on very inferior grass species just because of degradation, which is that kusari grass, as I said, heteropogon is the species. But the moment you protect it, you have superior species like Paunia marvel, Sehima and Dicanthum, which are palatable species. So if you have well-stocked grasslands, you would, तुम्हाला चारा छावण्यांची गरज नाही लागणार. That's what we say. Instead of that, your own village would be sustainable to have your own fodder. And at the same time, if you do forest restoration, many ecological services can be availed. Like you can have timber, you can have non-timber forest produced, you can sell it, you can trade certain things. So you combine both these things and you actually evolve some plan for village along with the villagers. That's definitely is working. That's what we say. And then I think of our work, this is the last part, that we also work with private farmhouse owners, or the land which is very small and the people who are not completely convinced only for ecological restoration. So that time we combine this, we integrate design. I think many nurserymen might be able to relate to this. So this is a farmhouse of this is there in Pauna, Sayaji. This is a farmhouse of Rakesh Mehra. So here again in 8 acres, so even Rakesh was completely convinced for ecological restoration and integration for sure. But initial 4 years, we only protected this land, tried to improve the topsoil, tried to improve the moisture. And then in the 5th year, we did plantation. So this is how we, again, completely barren land it was there. And this is how the land use was evolved for him. So this is a little belt of 8 acres. And as you see, we tried to do many things, like kitchen garden is there, then forest is there for sure. On much of the land, there is a forest, then avenue trees were planted. So this is what I think nurserymen can concentrate. All this could be your good clients, all such farmhouse owners, because they definitely need to have beautiful species all along the road. So we suggested them like species like Palash and Pangara and Katesavar, Bambax. So all the species which are beautiful looking and the species which also have beautiful foliage like Kusum. So all these were planted all along the road. And at the same time, we did some kind of boundary plantation in which we just thought to have species which might be in future can be used commercially. Say for example, bamboo. Bamboo definitely gets good price. Then there are species like charoli. Charoलीला इंग्लिश मध्ये काय म्हणतात मला माहित नाही. It's a dried fruit.
Buchnania cochinchiensis.
Buchnania cochinchiensis. Thanks, Dhananjay. It's a scientific name, but yeah, so many people would be able to know it. So that is planted. Then, as you see, so it's a mix of things. So certain areas are ecologically restored and only forest is going to be there, and certain areas are for human beings so that they can sustain their whatever life and family from that particular patch. So this is how integration can be done. That's what I wanted to tell you. So this is how it is. 3 acres, more than 3.5 acres is native forest. Productive forest means food forest is there on 1 acre and fruit grove is there on 1 acre. This is the diversity that we use. As you see, natives are also equally beautiful. It's just that we need to talk about it and we need to just sell it by saying that instead of buying gulmohar, why not to go for paras? Means this is how I think we need to bring in little shift. This is another private farmhouse. So in case of such farmhouses, obviously results are quite fast. It's not that slow because as you see in the photograph, drip irrigation is done, and on a smaller area like 1 acre, definitely can be done. So here, then half acre we suggested to have ecological restoration and plantation, and half acre was landscaping. So this is how flower was completely changed now. And in the habitats also we try to make little some water feature, then some kind of lawn escape to the minimal. And if at all this lawn is a mix of species, like there is Durwa, cynodon species, which is used along with Mandukparni, that is Brahmi. It is also used in this particular lawn. The many grasses are used. So in landscaping also you can actually use native species. Whatever are there are all butterfly host plants, larval host plants. So it makes your garden maybe not the way our conventional gardens are, but definitely this is some different kinds of beauty that we prefer to develop. So it's all about habitat development in the gardens. Um, yeah, and lastly, we also suggest that biodiversity parks can be established in every village. So 2 years back, there's this exhibition named Kisan. So in Kisan, we talked to this concept of ecological development of watershed village and establishing biodiversity park, one park in each village to almost 10,000 farmers. And I'm so happy to share that everyone agreed to that. That definitely they would like to do that, but to execute it, it's little difficult, I think. So maybe all of us can make it happen. And this particular point already being talked by Sayaji, that it's really important that we propagate and promote native plants, maybe by one or the other way. Yeah, so we also have this nursery, and so obviously very less demand is there. So when we started our nursery, it used to be just me and Mansi. So actually this oikos is started by me and my colleague Manasi Karandikar. So both of us used to just collect the seeds and started establishing this nursery. But now let me tell you, it has got quite a good demand. Now it is handled by one of our aunt. So she has her nursery, Pranjal Nursery in Aund in Pune. So back in 2004, we hardly had any kind of demand. But as compared to that, after what 16 years, the demand has increased like anything. So I'm quite hopeful and I'm quite optimistic that on this particular platform of Nursery Main Association, you would be able to help us in taking this particular message little ahead. And I think this is the last slide. That just today in the morning, we published this ebook named Backward. It's in Marathi, but here this book talks about all the concept that why natives and all kind of list that people depend for, like for medicinal plantation, for nakshatra work, for herbs, for medicinal plantation. I think the book is down. Yeah. Yeah, so you can just buy this book on Amazon. Those basically Marathi people can definitely read it. Yeah. So thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ketki madam, for sharing a very valuable information. It was very informative, and you are rightly said ki IN also will take the initiative for these things. With the help of you, all the people, we are also there with you, and by keeping joint in joint at Sahyadri Devurai and with all you people, INA will be there to preserve our nature, preserve our earth. So thank you very much once again on behalf of Indian Nurserymen Association for sharing valuable information with all of us. Thank you very much. Now we are with us very passionate person, socialist, environmentalist. I will say ki sky is the limit for that person. What whenever you call, he is there for plantation activity, and whatever the nature is there, he is there. So I welcome Dhananjay Shedbale sir on behalf of Indian Nurserymen Association. I welcome him. Uh, उनके बारे में थोड़ा सा कहा जाए तो by profession is a mechanical engineer, but he's more or now a horticulturist or a plant lover. So has a ha- passion about the collecting the native species of seeds from Western Ghats and makes the saplings, and he distributes for last 10 years. So it's a great experience since last 10 years. He's also the member of PCMC Smart City under his core committee. He is also the trustee of Deorai Foundation Pune and president NGO of Savarkar Mandal Friends of Nature Wing. He conducts so many activities related to various aspects of conservation like tree plantation, saving of trees, plastic mens, saving Western Ghats through activism and through community participation, building of check dams, repairing old check dams. So a great social activist and environmentalist with us. So I welcome once again Dr. Shedbale sir on behalf of Indian Nurserymen Association, and I request him to share his view on the
Uh,
great occasion of World Environmental Day. Over to you, Dhananjay sir.
Thank you, Sachin, Ina, MNA, and everyone. Uh, when there are great personalities like Sayaji sir, Ketki, and the knowledgeable people, all the members of INA, it's very difficult to talk about what I'm doing a bit in my capacity. But still, here I am not going to talk about what I am doing, but here we are going to talk about and to see maximum in 10 minutes time. So please don't leave the meeting. Maximum in 10 minutes, I'll be covering the work of Sahyadri Devrai Samajik Sanstha. And of course, we all know this is being founded by the great actor, the great green warrior, Sayaji sir, Sayaji Shinde. So this is our, you can say, work which we have done in Maharashtra. And of course, why we are here is very clear. It's very obvious. You guys are supporting our mission tremendously. In the past also, on the Palkin route of Dehu and Alandi, uh, moves towards Pandharpur in Maharashtra, we planted the trees on the Palkin, you can say those, you can say our stations every night, wherever the Palkin stays, there we have did the plantation. And there we got the, you can say, support and the donation of the huge saplings from you guys. And same we are expecting from all of you in our selfless work which we are doing. And next. Shivangi, please keep on moving. Yeah. And of course, Ketki has told, and we are moving on the, you can say, on the same path. And the same thing, and particularly the drought prone areas we are working, we are focusing on, but not necessarily only the drought prone. Whenever and whichever part we are getting the inquiries, we are getting the phone calls, we are here to attend and to support for the green cause. And it's not only the tree cover, Ketki has covered, you can say, holistically. And the same thing we are trying to do. The diversity should go up, and the village development, the sustainable development should take place. And of course, the systematic technical approach we are taking and we are doing. And of course, again, the native species, it's not only the tree cover, it is starting from the grasses, the ground cover, till the huge trees, the lina, everything we need to cover, and that's what our focus is. Next, ma'am. Of course, the objective we have given, making the villages self-reliant, sustainable. That's what we are focusing on. But of course, the nurseries, you can say, set up, and then making the saplings ready, and then distributing and creating small patches of the forest, the private forest, maybe in the form of man-made sacred grove, we call it as, and you can say by and large we know it as the botanical gardens, but we wish to connect the emotions of the people to these places, and that's why we say man-made sacred groves. Then the Ghanwan, we all are aware about the Miyawaki forest, but we are having our own forest, and studying them we have devised this Ghanwan, the dense forest concept, that also we came up with. Next. And then, of course, the mini biosphere, that's the meaning of this Sayaji Devrai, the biodiversity park we wish to develop everywhere, whosoever comes forward. Next. Why plantation? Needless to say, and we all are aware, and that's why we are here on this platform. Next. Then so many issues, so many problems are there. It's like a slow poison, and it is called as the, you can say, boiling frog syndrome, and we don't wish the mankind to suffer, and that's why all these efforts are. Otherwise, the eminent actor who is so busy in his schedule, in his acting career, to look after, or say to keep the focus on greening Maharashtra and in turn the, you can say, our nation, he has realized, and that's why whenever we give him a call, never ever he says no, and that's the beauty of his green heart. Next. Of course, the wells dried up, and you might be aware, Modi 2.0, they formed the independent, the separate Jal Shakti ministry, and the purpose is to conserve the, you can say, the groundwater. You might be aware, but still let me tell you, 78% of the entire population of our India is dependent upon the groundwater and not on the rivers, and that's why saving the groundwater, wells, streams, everything is so critical and important. Next. And that's why Sayaji sir has envisaged greening the whole, you can say, the Maharashtra, and particularly keeping intact our Western Ghats, and in Maharashtra it passes through, and we call it as the Sahyadri. Next. And at a glance you can see how many, you can say, works, how many you can say the man-made sacred groves we have established till now, and this is a little old figure, and this year I am very much sure this is the 75th Independence Day we are going to celebrate. By that time, definitely we will have more than 75 man-made sacred groves, 75 dense forests, Ghanwan, and 75 self-reliant farmers on 1 acre area. I am not going into those details, but this much of area in these many districts we are working on. Next. Some of the photographs, glimpses, wherever people calls, our actor, our the chief trustee Sayaji stands up, and that too, again, as I said, he has not mentioned, and he don't wish us to mention, but still let me tell you, lakhs of rupees he is spending from his own pocket and doing all this, you can say, wonderful work. Next. So some of the glimpses you can see, last year, the first, you can say, the convention of the tree, Vriksha Sammelan, we had conducted at Bid, Palwan, Bid, and there, you may not believe, but the president was the banyan tree, our national tree, and that's how he looks at the nature. Next. Yeah, some of the, you can say glimpses of the work which we are doing across Maharashtra. Next. And you can say the society which is having the empowered women is the real, you can say, the happy society. That's what we do believe in, and we are focusing on empowering and maximum participation from the women. That's what you can see in this slide. Next. Yeah, next. You can see, and you belongs to this community, this profession you are into. So needless to say what work we are doing. Yeah, next. And you can see the, you can say, water tanks and all these things. Never ever we said no to anybody, any group, or say any, you can say, village, whenever they ask for any monetary support. Of course, the technical support, donating the saplings, that we are doing. But apart from that, whenever they need, you can say, monetary support for the development, for the infrastructure, never ever we say no. Next. Even the senior citizens, you can see they are contributing, coming forward. And what we have seen is people need the motivation, people need the direction. That's what, using the face of Sayaji, we are trying to do. We are trying to connect the people again to the nature. Next. So the various techniques we are using in the water conservation, and depending upon the terrain, the geology, the geography, we are selecting, we are choosing, and we are going ahead and doing the tree plantation systematically. Next. Next. Huge difference we are able to make. Next. Next. See again, this is the, you can say, the Gabion check dam, and likewise we are doing, we are giving our, you can say, fullest. And you can see this, you can say, check dam full of water. Next. Next. Yeah, the continuous contour trench. Next. Next. So I would say this is what you can say about our work, and we are taking it forward with the, you can say, support from all walks of the life, and even the government also supports us, irrespective of the, you can say, party which is there in the, you can say, power. Next. Yeah, some of the, you can say, the news which appeared in the print media. Next. And again, you can say, what we call it as the सांड पानी जिसको बोलते हैं हम लोग, उसका जो हम लोग ये करते हैं, तो उसका यहाँ पर काम चल रहा है in one of the villages. Next. A part of water conservation. Next. And then the floral diversity, more the floral diversity of the, you can say, native species, better it is for the, you can say, diversity of the faunal creatures. And that's what we are doing. This Bombax Siba, you must be aware, this drive Sayaji sir had started 4 years back. Instead of Gulmore, why not to plant the Bombax Siba? Why not to plant the Putia monosperma? And that's what this, you can say, drive we had taken up, and huge response is there. Here you can see this had been counted, 46 bird species had been sighted on this tree. Next. We all are aware, what is this? Cassia fistula, Bhava. Next. So likewise, so many trees, so much of diversity is there. Why not to propagate? Why not to, you can say, spread this word? That's what our focus is. Next. This will definitely help, and this is going to be the future. Yeah. Next. Yeah, so much of diversity of our own land is there. Let us propagate. Let it be alive. Let it be intact. Yeah. Next. Next. And one more thing, this nursery, setting up nursery, you are into that, so I don't wish to, you can say, go into the details, but we are trying to decentralize, and wherever possible we are trying to build the, you can say, nursery setup. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Our trust is dedicated for the, you can say, nature conservation, all the aspects of the nature conservation. But of course, the focus is on the tree plantation, keeping the tree cover, the forest cover intact. Next. These are the details of our NGO. Next. Yeah. So that's it from our side. Sachin and INA, thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And we request and expect your wholehearted participation in our endeavor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dhananjay sir, for sharing a valuable work of Sayaji sir and Sayaji Devrai. No doubt about it in my mind ki it's a great work and it is a motivational work and inspiring work for all of the people, for all of us, and 100% it will go ahead in future and it will make a one benchmark for all the citizens. So thank you very much once again. I think Sayaji sir has to run for one next meeting. So I request our INA Secretary Mukul Tyagi Sahab to give a whole time thanks to Sayaji sir. Our webinar will be in the continue. We have the question and answer sessions. Thank you very much, Sayaji sir, for sparing your valuable time. I request Mukul Tyagi sir.
Okay, thank you, Sachin sir. First of all, सभी को आज विश्व पर्यावरण दिवस की शुभकामनाएं मेरी तरफ से, और सभी को धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा, अपने INA मेंबर्स को, सभी पदाधिकारियों को जिन्होंने अपने अपने क्षेत्रों में विश्व पर्यावरण दिवस पर हमारी INA की जो प्लांटेशन ड्राइव है उसका शुभारंभ आज किया है। और मैं विशेष रूप से धन्यवाद दूंगा सयाजी शिंदे साहब को, जो आज पता लगा है कि एक महान कलाकार ही नहीं बल्कि एक महान पर्यावरणविद भी है। और अभी जानकारी धनंजय जी ने जानकारी दी है, बहुत अच्छा उनका प्रेजेंटेशन रहा कि पर्यावरण के लिए बहुत बड़ा काम कर रहे हैं। मैं विशेष रूप से उनका धन्यवाद करूंगा, धनंजय जी का, सयाजी शिंदे साहब का। मैडम केतकी घाटे जी ने बहुत ही इन्फॉर्मेबल और एजुकेशनल बहुत अच्छी जानकारी हमें दी है, उसके लिए उनका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और मैं आज INA के महाराष्ट्र चैप्टर, उत्तर प्रदेश चैप्टर और उत्तराखंड चैप्टर और NCR, इनको विशेष रूप से धन्यवाद करूंगा। और बताना चाहूंगा कि महाराष्ट्र चैप्टर ने बड़े पैमाने पर प्लांटेशन ड्राइव को INA की शुरुआत की है, माननीय सयाजी शिंदे साहब के निर्देशन में, उनके निर्देशन में बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। और उत्तराखंड में INA के नेतृत्व में गवर्नमेंट ने एक जियो जारी किया है, जो सारे पुलिस विभाग के कार्यालय हैं, थाने हैं, चौकीज हैं, सभी में आज पूरे उसमें इंडियन नर्सरीमैन एसोसिएशन के सहयोग से प्लांटेशन का उद्घाटन हुआ है। क्योंकि नॉर्थ वेस्ट में ये गर्म मौसम है, इस समय बहुत हॉट है, तो आज उद्घाटन हुआ है। आने वाले मानसून सत्र में हमारा लक्ष्य है कि हम ज्यादा से ज्यादा प्लांटेशन करें। मैं इस विश्व पर्यावरण दिवस के अवसर पर महान पर्यावरणविद श्री सुंदरलाल बहुगुणा जी को अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करूंगा, और उन्हें जो हमारे व्यूअर्स हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं उनका धन्यवाद अदा करूंगा। हमारे प्रेसिडेंट मिस्टर YP सिंह साहब का, जिनके निर्देशन में ये आज 50वीं गोल्डन जुबली हमारी वेबिनार है, और हमारे सचिन ब्रह्मंकर साहब का विशेष रूप से धन्यवाद, उनके मोटिवेशन में बहुत सफलतापूर्वक हमने अभी तक अपनी जो 50 वेबिनार की हैं वो हमारी बहुत सफल रही हैं। और आगे भी हमें व्यूअर्स का, हमारे सदस्यों का, नर्सरीमैन्स का इसी तरह सहयोग मिलता रहेगा, और आपके सहयोग से हम इसी तरह आगे काम करते रहेंगे। मैं विशेष रूप से सयाजी शिंदे साहब का, जो हमारे किन एम्बेसडर भी हैं, और उनका निर्देशन हमारे INA चैप्टर को मिलता रहा है, हमें मिलता रहेगा, उनका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू वेरी मच मुकुल त्यागी साहब। जस्ट मैं सयाजी सर को जल्दी था, इसलिए आई हैव नॉट टेकन द क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर सेशन। सो दोज हु हैव एनी क्वेश्चन टू Dhananjay sir and Ketaki madam, they are free to us. This platform is open for question and answer session. So yeah, you can raise your hand. Those who have any questions, they can raise their hand.
Sachin, many questions came up in the chat box. Those also you can take up first, or those you may take first, and then you can ask others.
मी लिव्ह केलं तर चालेल का आता?
Yes sir, thank you very much.
थँक्यू व्हेरी मच. केतकी मॅडम, खूप छान झालं. धनंजय, गेल्या 5 वर्षात मी कधी आपल्या कामाचं असं प्रेझेंटेशन बघितलं नव्हतं, आपल्यालाच माहिती नव्हतं. तर तू खूप छान केलंस आणि थँक्यू ऑल ऑफ यू. छान छान मजा आली.
खूपच काम आहे.
लवकरच.
छान बघायला मजा आली.
सयाजी, नेक्स्ट टाइम जब भी आएंगे हम लोग केतकी और मानसी से मिलेंगे
Yes,
पूना में.
नक्की.
येस येस.
थैंक यू.
वेलकम
थैंक यू सो मच.
बाय.
बाय बाय.
So there is a question, one question, Ketki madam, for you. Is Jatropha is a good cultivation in Western Ghats? Can please explain question from Shiv Kumar Reddy, Bangalore.
Yeah, so Jatropha is that way a non-native plant, but it is cultivated for seeds. So we say that if at all you wish to have a commercial production from Jatropha, you can grow it just like agriculture. The way in agriculture, because we wish to earn money, we have sugarcane. So similarly, you can do Jatropha. But if you wish to do forest, you should not plant Jatropha. Means what is your objective? That's very important. That if you wish to do certain things for nature, then Jatropha is not good. Yeah, for sure. Then you should focus on natives and the diversity of natives. But if you ask me, Jatropha, yeah, maybe in Western Ghats, even if you try to go for some kind of production, it may not grow well. It grows well in drier parts.
Thank you very much. And there is one question from Ramakrishnan. What support is given by state government and central government? Can you focus on this line?
On state government and for plantations, you mean?
Ramakrishnan ji, what exactly you want to ask? What support is given by state government and central government? This is your question.
In what
Yeah.
act?
Yeah, it's mainly for this we were initiatives in the greening initiatives. What's the support given by the government?
No, so there are, I think, state governments keep on floating certain schemes. Like in few years back in Maharashtra, there was Green Idea scheme. So if at all you enroll yourself along with your proposal and idea, they might support you. So this obviously must be changing from state to state. But apart from that, there are hardly any schemes which are only for environment as such. So, or maybe I don't have good idea about it. We hardly work with them.
No, our personal appreciation to Mr. Sayaji. We see him as an actor, but he is doing so much of contribution to India. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, madam. I think we are run out of time. It's now 3:40. We have to wind up by 3:30. So I'm thankful to, once again, I'm thankful to all the speakers, Sayaji sir, and all the participants on behalf of Indian Nurserymen Association, all the members from all the chapters, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and all the chapters. Thank you very much for joining us on today's webinar. So I conclude here and see you in the next webinar on 55th webinar on next Saturday. Till then, thank you very much. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sachin and all. Thank you, Ketki.
Thanks, Sanjay.
Bye bye.